Hari Om, everybody. Welcome back. It's 10 o'clock. We will get started with our classes. Om. Om. Ganana Antva Ganapatigum Havamahe Kavim Kavinamupamashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatana Shrunvannoti Visri Dasadanam Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebhirvajini Vati Dhinama Vityavate Om Ganeshaya Namaha Om Saraswatyai Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Shuklam Varadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Vagishadya Sumanasah Sarvarthanam Yam Natva Kritakritya Syuhu Tam Namami Gajananam Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhirbhavatu Me Sada Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Sadgurum Tam Namami Krutismriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Nama Bhagavatpada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharya Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bedha Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Yasya Sannidhim Matrena Sarve Shishyascha Sevakaha Karmakshetre Pravartante Chinmayam Tam Namamyaham Chinmayam Tam Namamyaham. Hari Om, everybody. Welcome back to our weekly Vedanta classes. A very happy new year to all of you. Nutana Varsha Abhinandanam. And as a tradition, let us, since this is our first class, let us sing our Puja Guruji's composition of the New Year song. Kshanam Pratikshanam Yannavam Navam Kshanam Pratikshanam Yannavam Navam Tatya Sundaram Satya Tattivam Tatya Sundaram Satya Tattivam Varshanootanam Te Shubham Mudam Varshanootanam Te Shubham Mudam Uttarottaram Bhavatu Siddhidam Uttarottaram Bhavatu Siddhidam Kshanam Pratikshanam Yannavam Navam Kshanam Pratikshanam Yannavam Navam. The meaning of this is the beauty is that which is ever fresh, always new at every moment, and that is the truth, and that alone is auspicious. And may this new year bring that auspiciousness and delight and bring all of us greater and greater achievements. So, as I mentioned prior to the break, this will be our concluding session of the Viveka Choodamani text. We have covered all of the major topics of Vedanta in our study, including the meditative verses for our contemplation. So, in today's session, we will use this last class to recap all of the major topics of Vedanta that we have covered. And for the details and the selected verses of Viveka Choodamani on each of these topics, you will have to revisit the individual lectures that will shed more light on that topic along with the meaning, etc. That is available on our Chinmaya Ramanam YouTube channel. So, in fact, we embarked on this journey through the study of this classic text of Vedanta called Viveka Choodamani 40 weeks ago. So, this is a sopana. Just like Sadhana Panchakam had 40 steps, coincidentally, this also has 40. So if you recall, we started with the introduction about the author, about the composer of this text, Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji, and how in a short lifespan he gave us the Upanishadic truths of Advaita Vedanta and brought about the revival of the Hindu Vedic culture in India. As you all know, it is customary to start the Mangala Charana Shloka, which you are all familiar with it by now. We will start with that. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tama Gocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. In the introduction of this text, in the invocation shloka that we chanted, Adi Shankaracharya ji, in one stroke, offers salutations to his Ishta Devata, that is Bhagavan Krishna, and Govinda also means who is the ruler of my sense organs, that supreme being, who is agocharam, meaning it cannot be known through the sense organs, or one who is beyond the perceptions of the senses, beyond the human emotions, and beyond the reasoning intellect. And in this verse, in one stroke, he bows down to Govinda, which is Bhagavan Krishna, and also his teacher, Govinda Bhagavat Padacharya. Then we started our first topic of the text, which was to glorify the human birth and to glorify the spiritual life within that. And in that, the key takeaways were human birth, Nara Janma, is very rare. Secondly, moksha or liberation is the ultimate goal of human existence. And that is possible only in human birth. Then we saw the M and M's of Vedanta. What is that? Manushyatva, Mumukshutva, and Mahapurusha Samshraya. All these three are possible only through the grace of the Lord. Daivanugraha Hetukam. And then we understood that moksha is possible only through gnanam. What type of gnana? Atmaikya bodhena vinapi mukti na siddhyati brahma shatantarepi. All other sadhanas are sahakari sadhana, or means to that, towards that knowledge. He also emphasized chittasya shuddhaye karma natu vastu upalabdhaye. Meaning, this knowledge of Jiva Brahma Aikya is available only through the study of Vedanta Shastra. So the seeker here has to make that transition from a dharma adhikari to a moksha adhikari. Meaning, in order for Shastra, the study of Shastra, to be meaningful and doubt free, sandeha rahita gnana. So we have to study under a qualified guru, a Shrotriya Brahmanishta guru. Then we saw in our study the general qualifications of a fit student of Vedanta. Who is qualified to study? The one who is a Medhavi, one who has the ability to relate and to recollect from his life experiences. He is a Vidwan, meaning he is equipped with a good general knowledge of the world, certain amount of intuitive knowledge, uha apoha vichakshanam. He has got a good analytical mind so that he can grasp the essence of teaching. And then we went through and discussed some specific qualifications, as I would like to call it, as the 4Ds of Vedanta. The first D is Viveka, differentiation. What type of differentiation? Vedantic differentiation. Nitya Anitya Viveka. Viveka of what is permanent and what is impermanent or ephemeral. And the second D is Vairagya or dispassion. It is a byproduct of strong Viveka. If Viveka points to everything except Brahman is ephemeral or impermanent, then the next step for the seeker is to stop seeking what is impermanent. How do we do that? By developing dosha drishti, by seeing the defects in my external pursuits, or developing what we call as pratipaksha bhavana. Virajya Vishaya Vrata Dosha Drushtya Muhur Muhu. Again and again, constantly educating the mind the futility of these external pursuits. Then the third D that we had outlined was the 6 disciplines or 6 virtues one should have. Shama Adi Shatka Sampatti. What are those? Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana. And the final D is the burning desire for liberation, mumukshutva. So you got the 4 Ds of Vedanta. And what is Shama? Shama is mastery over mind. Mano nigraha. And in Viveka Choodamani, he said, Swalakshye niyatavastha manasaha shama uchyate. Ability to bring the mind to a peaceful state. Then Dhamma 3.2. Dhamma is the control of sense organs. Chakshuhu adi bahya indriya nigraha. Steering both types of indriyas. What are they? Karmendriyas or the organs of action. Jnanendriyas are the organs of perception. Basically, in short, we can say self-control. Or we can say intelligent self-restraint. Then Uparama. Uparati also it is called, is the condition where mind is peaceful, not wandering around externally, not tempted by worldly pleasures. And then titiksha, forbearance, enduring little pinpricks in life without lamenting. In Viveka Choodamani, he said, apratikara purvakam, shitoshna sukadukkadi sahishnutvam. Bearing whether it is heat or cold, etc., without lamenting. And then Shraddha. Shastrasya Guruvakyasya Satya Buddhyavadaranam. Shraddha is not blind belief, but we say belief with a good understanding, with an integrated mind and intellect. Guru Vedanta Vakyeshu Vishwasaha iti Shraddha. I have faith in the words of my Guru, in the words of the Vedanta Shastra, meaning this student, this qualified student, has the ability to visualize the truth based on the words of the Guru and Shastra. Then we saw Samadhana, concentration of the mind, single pointedness of the mind, Chitta Ekagrata. Constant concentration. Sarvada sthapanam buddhehe. Sarvada, where we should keep our mind? Shuddhe Brahmani, in that pure consciousness. And then finally, the fourth aspect of the sadhana chatushtaya is mumukshutvam. Desire, burning desire for liberation. Moktumicha mumukshuta. A burning desire. We saw an often quoted verse on bhakti. Beautiful definition of bhakti. Swaswarupa anusandhanam bhakti rityabhidiyate. Seeking one's own true nature is bhakti, he said in Viveka Choodamani. Now what happens? The student who is bestowed with all these qualifications, sadhana chatushtaya sampanna adhikari, a fit student, approaches a qualified guru. This phase in Vedanta is called Guru Upasadana or Guru Upasati. We saw that this Guru is not some makeshift Guru. He is a Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru. Shrotriya is one who is very well versed in scriptures or Shastras. He has learnt it through the Guru Parampara, not just by some self study on the internet. He has the ability to communicate clearly. He makes the student understand. He leads a good life of good moral principles. He has good ethical conduct, meaning he leads a very virtuous life. And he is Shantaha. He is calm. How? Nirindhana Ivanalaha. Like a fire that has consumed all its fuel. Meaning, we saw in that qualification that the desires of the human mind were compared to that flame, and that objects of desire to the fuel. So for the Guru, the fires of desires has burnt itself out. Nirindana Ivanalaha. Therefore he is Shantaha. He is calm. Ahetuka Daya Sindhu. He is boundless ocean of compassion. So this qualified student approaches such a qualified guru in a humble way and said, Hey Swamin, Namahate, prostrations to you. You are this ocean of compassion. I bow down to you. Mam Uddara. Save me. Patitam Bhavabdav. I have fallen into this ocean of samsara. He says, give me one side glance of compassion. Atmiya Katakshya Drushtya. And tell me, how do I cross this ocean of samsara? Katam tareyam bhava sindhu metam. Jane na kinchit. I am utterly ignorant in this matter. Krupaya vam mam prabho. Show that compassion on me. Take me as your disciple. Show me the way. Be the GPS for me on this spiritual highway. What is this GPS in our language? GPS is the Guru, Parampara, and Shastra. So, this is the mark of a true seeker, because he admits he has a problem. He admits that he is seeking a solution to identify the root cause, and then he wants to apply a corrective action and change the course or a remedial action. Now the stage is set. Stage is set with the Guru, with such a plea from the Shishya, the disciple. With that act of surrender, the knowledge will begin to flow. Guru, at that point, with a smiling, pleasing smile, says, Ma Bhaishta, don't worry. And he calls him Vidwan. You are an intelligent fellow. Tava nasti apayaha. You are not in any kind of danger. There is a way out of this. Samsara sindhos taranestyupayaha. There is a plan. There is a way to cross over this vast ocean of samsara. Yenaiva yata yatayosya param. There are so many who have crossed using this path before you. Tameva margam tava nirdishami. I will show you the same way. What is that? Vedantartha vicharena jayate gnanamuttamam. I am going to teach you how to differentiate between Atma and Anatma. That will cure you from this primordial ignorance. And the product and the byproduct of ignorance also. That will all get burnt in that fire of discrimination, fire of knowledge. Tayor vivekodita bodhavahnihi. And when the Guru uses a lot of these technical terms in his response, like Atma, Anatma, Bandha, Viveka, the student has never attended a single Vedanta class. He has no clue what is going on, and he says, I don't get it. Then he asks the famous question, which is, Ko nama bandha katamesha agataha katam pratisthasya katam vimokshah kosavanatma paramah ka atma tayor vivekah katametadutchatam. See, this student is also not an ordinary student. He's keen to learn. So the entire Vedanta was answered with these 7 questions that the student asked. Ko nama bandha. He asked, what is this bondage? Katam esha agataha. How has it come to me? Katam pratisthasya. How does it continue to exist? Katam vimokshaha. How does one get out of it completely? Ko savanatma. What is this anatma? Which is what is not self. Paramaha ka atma. What is this atma or paramatma? Tayor vivekaha. What is the process of this differentiation between self and the not self, between atma and anatma? Katametat ucchatam. Please explain in detail to me. So we saw this was the turning point in student's life. Because we saw it lead him from information to transformation. So the implications and answers to these questions are huge. And the Guru knows that. So he was jumping with joy that he got such a student. He said, "Oh my, I've been conducting these Vedanta classes. Finally, Dhanyosi, blessed you are. Kruta Krutyosi, fulfilled you are. Pavitam te kulam tvaya." Your entire lineage, family tree, you have purified all of them with this question. Glory to you. Then the Guru starts to answer all the questions. And that Guru Shishya Samvada, first he starts with what is Anatma. So first we went through Shariratraya Viveka. Under this topic, we covered the highlights, what is covered in Tattva Bodha, what we discussed as references from the selected verses of Viveka Choodamani. So we covered starting with what is Stula Sharira, gross body, what is Sukshma Sharira, subtle body, what is Karana Sharira or causal body, and gross body is Stula Sharira. Sharira means Shiramanyatvat Shariram. That which disintegrates. Majority of your doctors, I don't have to go through this, you know the in and out of this anatomy. That which disintegrates, that which perishes into the 5 great elements. Pancha Mahabhutas. Space, air, fire, water and earth. And that is where it has come from. That is from which it has been created. The gross body is an assemblage of parts, 7 ingredients. Saptadhatav. It is made up of skin, flesh, blood vessels, fat, marrow, bones. It has limbs, padoru vaksho bhuja prushta mastakaihi. It has limbs such as head, hands, legs. And why is it called Stula Sharira? Because it can be perceived by our senses. And it can also be perceived by others. Gross. It is born out of the good actions of the past. Satkarma Janyam. Purva Karmana, he said in Viveka Choodamani. Aham mameti pratitam shariram mohaspadam stula mitiryate budaihi. We have great association with this aspect of anatma. Not just fascination with our body, but obsession. This living, breathing leather bag, somehow bound together with nice leather. One Mahatma called it a walking toilet. Everybody has great fascination, attachment to this gross body. And we know millions and millions of dollars are spent to upgrade it, modify it, plastic surgery, Botox, upliftment, liposuction, lip enhancement. I can only name a few of them, and downsize it through weight loss programs, GLP drugs. And we spent a lot of time how it is created. We went through the Panchi-karana process. I just want to show that slide. How all those different elements come together. Remember that $2, how each quarter is split, right? And then we saw this Panchi-karana, how each of them split further and go on to become each of these parts of the body, etc. Right? Then if gross body is bhoga ayatanam, a counter of experience to the external world, then subtle body is bhoga sadhanam, instrument of experience. It is made up of 5 subtle elements. It has 17 limbs. How is it made of 17? 5 gnanendriyas, organs of perception. What are they? Ears for hearing, tvak, skin for touch, chakshu for seeing, rasana or jihva for tasting, granam to smell, and 5 karmendriyas, vak for speech, pani for hands to grasp, pada for locomotion, payu, anus to eliminate the waste, upastha, genital organs. We saw all that in detail. Then 5 pranas. 5 prana, apana, samana, udana, vyana. And Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji called this Ashtapuri in Viveka Choodamani. 5 karmendriyas, 5 gnanendriyas, 5 pranas, vagadi pancha, shravanadi pancha, pranadi pancha, abram mukani pancha. These are the pancha mahabhutas, the raw material like space, fire, water, air, earth, etc. And the 5th city out of the Ashtapuri 8 cities, he said, Mana, Buddhi Adi, meaning Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. Then the 6th city was Avidya, Kama, Karma. He called this 8 cities Puryastakam Sukshma Shariram Ahuhu. Then he also called it Lingam Tvapanchikruta Bhuta Sambhavam. We saw that these components of the Sukshma Sharira, also known as Linga Sharira, Linga means indicator. Just like how we see smoke, there is fire, we say, the Sukshma Sharira is present. When it is present, it indicates there is life in the body. That's why it's called Linga Sharira. And what is unique to this Sukshma Sharira, this subtle body? Swapnavastha, dream state. It is unique to the subtle body. It creates a world of its own, an internal world of dream. We know that they are often caused by suppressed thoughts or unfulfilled desires during the waking state. So the next in Sharira Traya Viveka we saw was the Karana Sharira, the causal body. Causal body, Karana Sharira, it is called as such because it is the cause of the subtle and the gross body. Sharira Dvaya Karanam. What does it consist of? It consists of vasanas, our inherent tendencies in an unmanifest form. It is the nature of ignorance, avidya rupam, sat swarupa agnanam. What does this mean? The problem is I do not know my true nature. Remember, I use the term AAA, Advitiya Atma Agnanam. I am ignorant of my true nature, and Karana Sharira is Anadi, beginningless. We don't know when all this started. It is an inexplicable phenomena, Anirvachaniyam. It is Nirvikalpaka Rupam. It is free from thoughts. And when the individual identifies with this Karana Sharira, he is in deep sleep state, Sushupti. Because the external world has folded down, the counter is closed for business. There is no internal world, there is no dream. It is in a homogeneous experience of nothingness. That's why we called it Agnana Nidra. So we studied all of this, Anatma, to understand that the self is to transcend these three bodies, the gross and the subtle and the causal body. That is Shariratraya Viveka. We also used our Atma Anatma Viveka, saying Madiyatvena Gnatam Atma Na Bhavati. Tula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatiriktaha. That which is beyond the gross and the subtle and the causal body. Then we covered Avastatraya Viveka. We covered saying the Jagrad Avastha, the Jagrad Avastha or the waking state, Swapna Avastha or the dream state, Sushupti Avastha or the dream sleep, deep sleep state. Again, to recap, why are we studying this aspect of Anatma? Because of Sat Swarupa Agnanam. At the microcosmic level, we explored how the same self consciousness becomes a waker, becomes a dreamer, and becomes a deep sleeper. Then, using Avastatraya Viveka, I understand that the self as the life principle. I understand it as Sakshi, the witness principle. I understand it as that awareness principle that works in and through the three bodies to become the waker, to become the dreamer, to become the deep sleeper. Then we learned about the Gunatraya Viveka. We learned in that topic the Tamo Guna. We learned there are three types of thought textures driven by tamas, Rajas and Sattva gunas, because the divinity in me is veiled by the vagaries of my gunas. And I have outlined some of the possible thought textures because of the dominance of each of the gunas. Then we started exploring the concept of universe and Maya. Avyakta namni paramesha shakti. This Maya is the unmanifest power of the Lord. Anadi Vidya Trigunatmika Para. This wonderful power that Maya and company is Anadi, beginningless. We don't know when it all started. Trigunatmika, she is made up of the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Maha Adbhuta Anirvachaniya Rupa. She is this mysterious wonder. She is Aganita Ghatana Samarthyam. Agatita Ghatana Samarthyam. She makes the impossible possible. Anirvachaniya Rupa. Sat Asadbhyam Anirvachaniyam. It is an inexplicable phenomena. And then we saw that this Maya has two powers. Avarana Shakti, that which covers the real, and then the Vikshepa Shakti comes in, projects the unreal and makes it seem real. Then we saw how dominance of each of the different aspects of Tamoguna, Rajoguna, Sattva Guna creates problems for each of us. Then we saw the two classic examples of rope and the snake, and the ghost and the post, to understand the illusory nature, so that I can do the Atma Anatma Viveka. Then I need to know, in order to do that, I need to know the nature of Atma. Until now, I studied many layers, many aspects of Anatma, and now with the help of the Shastra and the Guru, I understand the nature of Atma, nature of Paramatma. We saw in Vedanta and Upanishads, there are several pointers given to indicate Atma. The nature of the self is indicated as Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. Existence, consciousness, bliss. Just to recap, Sat means that existence principle. That Sattvastu is one that exists in all three periods of time. It is constant in the past, present, and future. That means, as my true nature, I am Atma. I was there and I will ever remain. We saw the Swarupa Lakshana, Tatastha Lakshana, Atad Vyavrutti Lakshana to indicate this. The three methods used to point to Atma. And the Supreme Self was pointed as Prakriti Vikriti Binnaha. It is free from modifications of nature. Shuddha Bodha Swabhavaha. So many direct quotes from Upanishads we saw, from Bhagavad Gita. Then at this point, I have understood what is Atma, what is Anatma. Vedanta Shastra told me that our true nature is Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. It told me that you are Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, Atma. You are eternal, it said, but I feel limited. I feel alpagna. I feel I am finite. We learned that this parithinnatva, this sense of limitation, or this jiva bhava, are of three types: desha parichinnatva, limitations due to space; kala parichinnatva, limitations due to time; vastu parichinnatva, paricheda, objectal limitation. So this notion of individuality or jiva bhava, a sense of limitedness, a sense of finitude, is due to our avidya, ignorance, which is considered to be the root cause of our bondage, bandhana. It has twofold effect. One is anatmani atma buddhi. What does this do? It creates a notion of self in the not self. To say it in another way, this is the misapprehension caused by ignorance. What does this do is to create the identification with the gross body, subtle body, causal body, and so on, leading to Jagati Satyatva Buddhi, a notion of giving reality to this world. This creates the reality given to the world in the names and forms, Nama Rupa, the world of objects and beings and emotions. What does that do in turn? This brings in the miseries of birth and death cycle, janana, marana, klesha, sampata hetuhu. Death spiral. Sorry, go around. Because of this, we are thinking body, its identification. Slowly we are bound like tantu bihi kosha kridvar. Like the silkworm, when it starts, the caterpillar builds the cocoon through the thread from its own saliva. It gets caught in its own cocoon. Then we went through Pancha Kosha Viveka. What are they? The food sheath, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha or vital layer sheath, Manomaya Kosha or mental sheath, Vijnanamaya Kosha, intellectual sheath, bliss sheath or Anandamaya Kosha. And how do we transcend these five sheaths? And beyond these five sheaths is Atman, represented by the symbol Om, the core of our personality. The five sheaths are as though these metal layers, the dress worn by the self. It is different from the wearer of this dress. We saw in detail how to negate each of these five sheaths using logical reasoning called yukti, using Shruti Pramana, Shruti, to arrive at the Atman. Through this Nisheda, the Neti approach, not this, from the Taittiriya Upanishad. What remains after that is that Sakshi Swarupa Atma. Then we did the Mahavakya Vichara, specifically the enquiry into the statement of Tat Tvam Asi from the Chandogya Upanishad. We saw that these Mahavakyas are identity revealing statements that indicate the unity that indicate the essential oneness of the individual and the infinite truth. First we saw Tvam Pada Vichara, then we did the Tat Pada Vichara, then the Asi Pada Vichara. Then in our next stage of journey, we realized that I might have understood this meaning of Mahavakya Tattvamasi. It has to translate to my own Anubhuti, Aham Brahma Asmi, that intellectual knowledge, even if it is Sandeha Rahita, doubt-free knowledge, it does not translate to Anubhuti, actual experience. Although Vedantic knowledge is telling me that I am Brahman, the contrary notion related to my Anatma, like my body, my mind, are so powerful. The contrary notion, the Viparita Bhavana, these are strong habitual tendencies that are deep rooted. How do we overcome that habitual thinking? By breaking just like any other habit. I have to build a repository of Atma Vasanas. In that context, we saw a lot of Nididhyasana shlokas. How to do this contemplation through Vedantic meditation. Then we saw the Gnana Phala, Jivan Mukti Viveka. What are the Jivan Mukta Lakshanas? How he behaves in this world after realization. Then we saw the meditative verses from Shishya narrating his Atmananda. And finally, Ityacharyasya Shishyasya Samvadenatmalakshanam Nirupitam Mumukshunam Sukhabodopapattaye. This is glorifying the text of Viveka Choodamani. Iti Shankaracharya Virachitam Viveka Choodamani. So, in key takeaway, while Tattva Bodha, when we studied that, it exposed us to the definitions and terminologies. Atma Bodha was a textbook of concepts explained through examples. Then we studied Bhajagovinda. It brought us a sense of urgency for this type of studies, helped us how to see the defects in the world, to develop Pratipaksha Bhavana, and to develop Vairagya, detachment. Viveka Choodamani was unique in that classic advanced text that gave us details of every aspect of Vedanta that the seeker needs. I am grateful to this entire Guru Parampara for this great opportunity and to help us guide in this endeavor. I am grateful to all of you for your encouragement, your inspiration by attending these sessions regularly, and we will continue. Hari Om Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tama Gocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat. May all be happy. May all be healthy. May all see auspiciousness. May none suffer. Om peace, peace, peace. With that, I will open it up for our interactive session, and with you can unmute yourself, and we will start the conversation.